In this question, we're asked to express the square root of sine theta plus cosine theta in the form r sine theta plus alpha, where r is bigger than 0 and alpha is between 0 and pi by 2. This is the standard r cos method or r sine method. There's nothing different about this here. So for part A, this is how we always set them out. We state that root 3 sine of theta plus cosine of theta, we want it to be written in the form so it is identical to r sine of theta plus alpha. And what we do is we expand this hand side using the addition formulae. Now these are given in your formula book. In your formula book you know sine A plus B, that's given to you, and that is equal to sine A cosine B plus cosine A sine B. Okay, so that's given in your formula booklet. So if you were to expand this, what you would get with your A being theta and your B being alpha, you would get r sine theta cosine alpha plus r cosine alpha cosine theta sine alpha. Now this is equivalent to root 3 sine theta plus cosine theta. Now having done that, we can deduce two things. We can always work our r out. The r is always going to be the square root of this squared plus the number in front of this squared, which is 1. So r is always going to be root 3 squared plus 1 squared, like that. And this works out to be r is the square root of 4, so r is going to be equal to 2. What else can we deduce? Well, we can deduce the following. Root 3 in front of the sine theta, and here we've got an r cos alpha, basically the coefficient of sine theta. So what we can deduce that r cosine of alpha is going to be equal to root 3. What else can we deduce? Well, there's a 1 in front of the cosine theta, so r sine alpha must equal 1. So we can deduce that r sine alpha must equal 1. Call that equation 1 and equation 2. And if we do equation 2 divided by equation 1, what do we get? Well, we get 1 divided by root 3, so 1 divided by root 3. R sine theta divided by r cos theta, the r's cancel, and we get, tan alpha even. And therefore alpha is the inverse tan of 1 divided by root 3. So get your calculator out. And so alpha is going to be the inverse tan, so inverse tan of 1 divided by root 3. And it's pi by 6. So alpha is going to be equal to pi by 6. Now let's look up what the question asks. It asks us to express this in this form. So what we can therefore say, that root 3 sine theta plus cosine theta, the thing we're asked to express over here is, well, what's r? 2. So it can be written as 2 sine of theta plus pi by 6. Sine of theta plus pi by 6. Be sure to make sure you write the last line. That's what you're asked to do in the question. Then it says state the maximum value of this and the smallest positive value of theta for which this maximum occurs. Well, if you're trying to work out the maximum of this thing here, it's equivalent to working out the maximum of this thing here. And often putting it in the r sine form or the r cos form, the whole point of it is to do these easier. Now, what's the maximum this can be? Well, think about it. The maximum that just sine on its own can be is 1. So the maximum this whole thing could be is 2. So the maximum value for part B is going to be equal to 2. Now when does that occur? That occurs when this is 1. So that occurs when sine of theta plus pi by 6 is equal to 1. i.e. theta plus pi by 6 is equal to the inverse sine of 1. Calculator out. Inverse sine of 1, close brackets, pi by 2. So when theta plus pi by 6 is equal to pi by 2. So a quick sketch of our graph. So we're looking at the sine graph. The sine graph looks like this here. And you've got a value at pi by 2, and there'll be another one over here, which is well out of the range, and there'll be another one over here somewhere, which is well out of the range. So therefore, the value of theta would be pi by 2 subtract pi by 6, and which is going to be equal to 3 pi by 2 subtract, 3 pi by 6 subtract pi by 6, which is 2 pi by 6, which is pi by 3. So theta is pi by 3, is the value at which this thing equals 1, and it's the smallest value. There are other ones over here and there are other ones over here, but those don't count. Okay? Right, so we have done part A and part B. Then we're asked to solve this equation here. So what I'm going to do, let me just take a picture of that. So for part C, we're asked to solve this equation. Now, you'll notice that this here is very much like the work we've been doing above. We can write that in R sine form, which is going to be much better. So solving this equals 0 is equivalent to solving 2 sine of theta plus pi by 6. So replacing this whole thing with this, but don't forget the plus root 3 equals 0. So to solve that, subtract root 3 from both sides, so 2 sine of theta plus pi by 6 will equal negative root 3. Divide by 2, sine theta plus pi by 6 is going to equal negative root 3 over 2. So therefore theta plus pi by 6, the principal value, is the inverse sine of root 3 over 2. Okay, calculator out. Inverse sine. Fraction. Negative, sorry, this was negative here, don't forget that was a negative there. So negative root 3 over 2, and close the brackets, and it tells us it's negative pi by 6. So theta plus pi by 6 is going to be equal to, sorry, negative pi by 3, negative pi over 3. So that's the first value. Now look, we're looking for any values between negative pi and pi. Give your answer in terms of pi. So let's draw a quick sketch. So let's draw a quick sketch here. And what we're going to do, the sine graph looks like that. Okay. And our first answer is negative pi by 3, which is negative 60, which is going to be somewhere there. Okay, now where are the other values going to be? Well, the other values equal to it are going to be here, and we're going to have one here, and we're going to have one here. Now we want our answers between pi and negative pi. So this one here, because it's going to be pi by 3 that direction, which is 60, when we take off this is pi by 6, which is 30, we're not going to get back into the region, so we can ignore this. We can also ignore this, that's clearly outside the region we're looking for. But these two will count. So these are the two answers we're looking for. So theta plus pi by 6 is going to be two things. It's negative pi by 3, or theta plus pi by 6 is going to equal, well, this here, that's pi by 3 from this 0 here, so this would be pi by 3 forward from negative pi, which is going to be negative 2 pi by 3, so negative 2 pi by 3. So therefore our theta is going to be this, take away pi by 6, or theta is going to be this, take away pi by 6. So we can just say negative pi by 3 subtract fraction pi over 6, and that's negative pi by 2, so negative pi by 2, and this one here is going to be negative 2 pi by 3, so I could just go over here and change that over here to a 2, and then we're going to take away pi by 6, which is negative 5 pi by 6, negative 5, 6 pi. And there are two answers in the range in terms of pi.